Greetings, Aquarius. Thanks for joining me here at the Lightroom Forecast. This is your general reading leading up to the beautiful full moon on the 27th in Virgo. So we're doing a shortened Celtic cross today, looking at central point kind of situation at the current time, the basis of that, what's behind you, where you're at with it, and moving forward. So let's get shuffling for the first few cards here. We can have something for Aquarius. Lovely water bearers. Got one there. We'll just get thank you. Just a couple more. Just two more cards. Be great. Okay. What do we got? Wow. Holy moly. Right, without being alarmed, first card we get, which has been coming up quite a lot this week, we get the Eight of Swords, the card of self-limitation in a nutshell. Self-limitation, feeling as if we're bound by something when in reality we're not. The Eights are all a mind card, all to do with states of the mind, and of course we've got the swords here. So there is a element that maybe you have been in various scenarios or situations, or just generally in your life, feeling this sort of that you are limited somehow, and usually it is just a mind machination. Crossing the Eight of Swords, we have the absolutely stunning Empress here. It's a card of nurturing, and it's a card of great levels of unconditional love. Strangely, you know, building up to this full moon in Virgo, it is very much a time for doing very small, not extravagant things for yourself, just in terms of self-nurturing. So it's kind of interesting that we get the Empress coming in, certainly over and crossing this Eight of Swords, the card of self-limitation. Do we feel somehow bound in matters of the heart, or our ability to nurture ourselves, or in fact to even nurture other people? Is there a kind of disconnect going on here? Interesting in the fact that the basis, the card underneath these two, the basis of this is the beautiful Queen of Wands. It's such a amazingly vital, powerful queen, creative, sexual, just exuberance on every level. And she has her familiar sitting beside her to remind her of all the hurdles that she's overcome to get to this point of queendom. What I get here is that just at this beginning point of the reading is that don't mix up this. I hear this idea that to really be fully expressive of one's will, center action in the world, getting things moving, does not turn, I do get this, does not turn other people off you. I don't know why I'm getting that. doesn't make you, it's not a trade-off between, you know, feeling warmth and nurtured, and you can actually integrate both aspects in your life. That's what I'm getting. You can integrate these aspects in your life. The Queen of Wands, in her wonderful, mighty, sovereign nature of will and exuberance and vitality, is a part of the Empress, you see. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's just what I'm getting here at the beginning of this reading. So let's see what's behind you, Aquarius, what's just passed for you. Let's, card please. Wow. You know, so for one thing, I say at this point, what's past, what's behind you is in fact the Princess of Wands. What's behind you is a large and arduous journey of breaking through, in effect, what were or have been your self-limitations that you placed on yourself. But what you've been through, it seems, this is behind you, remember, that you've surpassed your, you know, you've broken free of that limitation. It would appear to me with the Princess, we see the Princess bursting through. It's like a purification through fire. That is exactly what it is. And this animal form here represents those hurdles that the Queen, as the Princess, moved through to get to her authoritative place of power. Her sense of empowerment is very clean and clear now after moving from the Princess, moving through those things that the Princess is required to do. We see here an altar. It is an altar of roses that are aflame. I just love that imagery. I love roses. It is a purification and elevation through fire, Aquarius. It's pretty potent. As potent as the word that I hear. Let's see at this current time for lovely Aquarians, this current time for the beautiful Aquarians. Let's see if we can get a card to jump out. Yes, we have, and this has popped up before here, I think in the Leo reading. Currently, just at this moment in time, been, look, time's not linear, is it? Been, gone, here, now, whatever. Currently, we see the Prince of Swords. Now, look, we've come through this. We've elevated ourselves to this. Currently, we get the Prince of Swords. Now, the Prince of Swords is driven, or he's actually pulled by a series of thought forms of his own creation. Excuse me, in this card, these figures in front of him that are kind of pulling him along, but they don't have a target as such. They don't have a specific goal in terms of the direction that they are wanting to go in. They're sort of going all over the place. And the thought forms are described in the Book of Thoth as fairy forms. They are thought forms. There's a scattered nature with the Prince of Swords. There's an element of sort of reshuffling. I just get that thing like reshuffling the cards to get every one of them in the right place, to get all the elements of something in the correct slot, is what I get from this. There may well be a slight period currently of feeling scattered, of feeling a little bit confused. But let's see as we move forward. I mean, we're in an amazingly strong position. So don't, I would suggest don't let self-limitation and the energy that it takes to drive that thought form, don't let it have too much clout at this time, because you've surpassed it before. Moving forward, Aquarius, beautiful Aquarius, moving forward. What's happening for the beautiful Aquarian? As we move forward, we will clarify the circular spread. Moving forward. Look, I suspect this is a whole, or beginning of a whole new beginning. Let's face it. I know it's a predictable thing to say, but life is all about cycles, new beginnings, endings. It's all about this. Moving forward, and he is moving. He's moving quite quickly. The Prince of Wands is a firebrand, is a very passionate character. The thing with this card that I often get is that he is hot and cold, fire and ice, off and on, off and on. There's a crystallization of sorts, a kind of alchemy to this card. He's in the in-between time is what I get. He's in an in-between time at this point of moving forward. So we're hot and cold. There might be something, there could be some situation, scenario where you, if we go and say, well, this could be potential aspects of your own personality, of course, or it could be someone else in your immediate sphere, in your life, your work, your home, whatever it is. But if we see it as aspects of the self, there could be some thing where decisions, or where you see yourself moving to, you're having maybe a little bit of scattered doubt with that currently. Anyway, let's go through and clarify here. Wow. There's a lot going on, it seems, Aquarius. But actually there's a lot going on. Hang on. What I get though is it's this, strangely, on the outside, no one would see that there was ever any process or thinking that involved self-limitation for you. It's like looking from the outside. A lot of these readings this week, there's been a not necessarily a disconnection, but an area of distance. Anyway, I get that, excuse me, where we see that no one would ever imagine, looking from the outside, and is always the case, isn't it, that you ever had any hint of a kind of saboteur or limitation. In fact, the Prince of Swords is really could sum up that archetype incredibly well. because he's allowing his thought forms to just take him wherever they want. When in reality, he knows he might be on and off, hot and cold, but he knows the direction that he wants to head in. Anyway, whilst we were shuffling and looking at that and thinking about the Empress and self-limitation, and that it's not going to detract, as I said to begin with, the Queen of Wands exists within the Emperor. So this activity, intensity of movement, whether it's scattered, whether it's not, this drive, sheer will, surpassing obstacles, hurdles, elevating from the Princess of Wands to the Queen, and this isn't gender-based. All this vitality is not off-putting to people, is what I was getting at the beginning. And indeed it's not, because we get the Two of Cups coming up, which is a card of choice, and looking at that central point in this reading where the Empress crosses, the Eight of Swords, and the Queen of Wands is underneath. We get a card of choice, a card of reciprocity, of equal giving and receiving. And remember, sometimes it's a great challenge to be able to receive, to accept, isn't it? And of course this card can be a card of love, a card of, I guess for want of a better word, romantic matters. Possibly, if it were that case, I would suggest that this prince could well be someone in your life and not necessarily aspects of you, but of course there could be so many options. I just get what I get from the cards on the table today. Let's have a look at the Queen of Wands here. I'm interested in the Queen. What is the Queen of Wands telling us? Well, she's telling us that the sun is just like burning there in the sky. It's explosive, it's glorious. It's reminding us of all those wonderful things, the solar force, the joy of dreams and wishes, hopes, more so those things from childhood that we imagined coming into being. Look, there's nothing but bounty with the sun. These two honestly go hand in hand, of course. A solar queen. Well, so we get the sun, we get the Two of Cups. It's kind of looking quite it's like something's burning up, isn't it? It's not burning up, it's powered up. It's really powered up. Wow, after that just fell out. Five of Cups. After a level of understanding the value of love, when we see here in the Five disappointment, melancholy, even though we've got these Two Cups behind us, but maybe we didn't see them before. But by golly gosh, we're seeing them now. Beautiful Aquarius. Let's keep going. I just feel like this reading, because of all the solar expansion, is just getting juicier and juicier. We'll just get one more card for the Prince of Wands, please. This fire and ice character, on and off, but and yet within that an alchemization occurring, a kind of alchemical card of fire and ice. What we get here, yes. So we get passion, creativity, we get the gift coming through. And what I would suspect, possibly within this reading, in the form of a character who appears sort of to be on and off, hot and cold, yet still a fiery beast of a thing, a fiery personality. We get this gift of the Ace of Wands. So this reading is dominated literally by wands, and wand, at least 3 characters, possibly 3 characters in this reading are wands. The Ace is a gift. You must see this. Whatever it is, hot and cold, whether it's another person, whether it's aspects of yourself, see this Prince in combination with this, because there's some association here, there's some connection. Whether this is challenging, this Prince, it doesn't matter. There's a gift in here somewhere. Beautiful Aquarians. A gift of the vital life force of creativity and all that can bring for you and all the people around you in your life. Interesting reading. Interesting read. Let's get a journey map card, and then we will get a little Brian Frood card. Speaking of thought forms, where we see in your current position, this harking back to the Prince of Swords with his little thought forms. Currently, where are we going with our thought forms? We get imaging, which is all about that. It's about everything begins with a thought, with an idea, visualization, an imagining. This is the essence of imagination, is that with imagination we start to plant a seed. The seed is planted, it begins to appear in our material world if we choose to see it, focus on it. In fact, I think the best part of this is we kind of are totally zeroed on it. We're imagining it. We're trying to get that cosmic seed to sprout, and then we kind of forget about it, just naturally. And that's when it seems to appear. Something's forgotten about, and then it appears. This card is all about the fertile ground of imagining. Interesting, dear Aquarius. God, excuse me. Let's get a little pixie and fairy card, a bit of a light card at the end of this lovely reading. Wow. Look, we get 2. We get the beautiful Maiden, which is like the Star card. It's a fresh blast. It's actually like the Ace of Wands. It's a whole new beginning. It's a clean slate here. Whatever machinations you've been going through, I think once the dust, if that's the right way of saying it, settles. This is just, it's like nerves. Even though you're totally empowered, there's fiery furnaces, there's amazing queens, there's indecisive princes, there's love, there's equal offerings, There's nurturing and there's the beauty of imagining. We get the clean slate. This maiden has no history of disappointment or pain or anything like that, or self-limitation for that matter. She's fresh off the boat, as it were. She's crawled out of that little cabbage patch, and she's fresh, enthusiastic. She's full of life force. She's full of star force, actually. And with this card, we get the fairy guide. Now, this is a blank card included in Brian Froud's fairy oracle, and it is for you to either put your own fairy on it, or it is whatever you want it to be. I would suggest that it is what you want it to be, dear Aquarius, in this reading, to top it all off. It is what you want it to be. Imagine whatever you want on this card, my friends. Very interesting reading, really fiery, slightly confused, but we keep our eyes focused. We keep our eyes on. There is an offering here, I do believe. We just don't get swept off course, that's all. Stay focused, dear Aquarian. Okay. Wow. Thanks for joining me. Tune in for Time and Tides in the next day or so. That'll be up here. And have a fantastic week, Aquarius. Thank you for joining me again. Okay. We'll see you later. Bye.